Here inside Quicken Loans Arena, recapping the second straight win for the Cavs, this time against the Memphis Grizzlies, 105-91 on cleveland.com. Joe Vardon, Chris Haynes, and Chris Fedor with you to talk about this one. And Chris, so many people were considering this a measuring stick game. The Memphis Grizzlies coming to town, one of the best records in the NBA. They did not have Zach Randolph tonight. They did not have Tony Allen. Can it still be considered a measuring stick game?
Yeah, I think just from the simple fact that the physicality was still there on the part of Memphis Grizzlies. They still try to impose their will. It definitely does hurt when Zach Randolph, who's one of their biggest contributors in that area, is not on the court with them. But it's still a good team. It's a team that has continuity. They've been together for a long time, so they know where everybody is at all times on the court. So it was still a measuring stick, and I think it was still a good test that the Cavaliers passed out here, I believe, with flying colors. Now, the Grizzlies weren't in full strength. But still, you got to give credit to the Cavs.
It became a different kind of test and a different kind of measuring stick because if Randolph was out there, then you're saying, yeah, the Grizzlies are the second best team in the NBA. How does this team, the Cavs, that have all these expectations, how do they measure up? Okay, Randolph doesn't play, and now it becomes, if you lose that game, you are not what we all thought you were. I mean, that's just how the NBA works. That's what would have been said about this team. So the fact that the Cavaliers came out, won by 14, I think, and just played the way they did, kind of controlled the game, especially late, shows me they passed a test, a different test.
105-91 the final tonight. LeBron James led the way. Chris, he had 25 points and 11 assists, and that's been something that has been more consistent lately when it comes to LeBron. Those assist numbers, they're up, and the Cavs are 9-2 or something along those lines when LeBron gets to a high number of assists. And once again, he did it tonight, and the Cavs finished with 34 on 48 made shots. They were moving the ball.
Yeah, it was moving the ball, and it all started with LeBron James. He had 9 assists at halftime. But, one thing that I've been noticing, everybody has been noticing, that he's been, controlling most of the point guard duties. He's been running the offense more so than Kyrie Irving. And if you look at the last 14 games, he's averaging 8.5 assists a game. And that's a couple assists down from the first 11 games. And, I asked Coach Blatt about it. I'm like, hey, when was it? When was there a point in time where LeBron took over those duties, or when you guys spoke about it? He said, well, really there wasn't that time. And he kind of complimented LeBron for being able to play alongside Kyrie. And then we see what LeBron had to say after the game. He said, well, hey, I made a conscious effort after that, what was that, Washington?
It was after the Washington game.
So, obviously LeBron has shown that when he wants to do something, he doesn't need anybody's permission. He just go out there and do it.
Now, Joe, there have been times this year that the Cavs have been frustrating because they've gotten off to slow starts. They haven't given the same effort for 48 minutes.
Yeah.
But one thing this team has shown so far this year, they've played 26 games, and 13 times they have taken the lead into the fourth quarter, or they've been tied going into the fourth quarter. They haven't lost. They know how to close.
Wow, that's a great stat. Chris actually wasn't aware that it was that good. But, yeah, I mean, that's something you have to feel really good about. And you look at the reasons why. I mean, LeBron has won. Tonight he had 7 points and 1 or 2 assists in the fourth quarter, but the points that he scored were huge. And he always has someone who's kind of capable to close along with him. Most nights it's Kyrie, but tonight it was Dion Waiters. Dion had 13 of his 21 in the fourth quarter, and he took most of his 16 shots within the flow of the offense. He was, I would almost say, brilliant tonight. And the combination of LeBron with someone else playing that way is going to be tough to beat.
And you mentioned Dion Waiters. This is one night, or a couple of nights, one game, after he didn't even play in the second half. Yeah. What changed?
Well, I mean, we talked about it. We talked about with Dion. I think this is going to be an ongoing theme throughout the course of the season. He's going to ride Dion and see if he has it going for the first 5 minutes, and Dion has a short window to prove that he's going to be effective for that night. And if he is, Blatt will leave him in, ride him, see what happens. If not, he'll be quick to sit on that bench. And I think that's just how Dion is. Dion, he talked about it. He's aggressive by nature. So, by nature, he's going to go over there and probably try to do a little bit too much. But when he's on, you got to ride him. When he's off, you got to hurry up and set him down.
Chris, tonight an impressive win, 105-91, even though Memphis was shorthanded playing without Zach Randolph and without Tony Allen. There have been moments of inconsistency, like I said to Joe. Anderson Varejao talked about it in the locker room after the game. He said, hey, if we play the way that we did tonight against Memphis, we can be one of the best teams in the NBA. And it continues to be if we play this way and if we play the right way. Why is it that they can't be more consistent with this kind of play tonight?
Well, we have to keep in mind, these are a lot of new players that are trying to learn how to play with one another. And it's a lot of guys who aren't used to being in winning situations. So now it takes more than just putting guys on a team and thinking they're just going to equal success. I know a lot of people thought they were going to win 70 games, but that's not the case. A lot of people thought that. I'm not naming any names, but a lot of people thought that. But it takes time for guys to gel, and it takes time to build a winning culture. And I think over time, as we're seeing game by game, they're starting to build on that, and it's starting to be entrenched in them. Is it there permanently right now? No, it's not. It's going to be a work in progress.
Yeah, we'll see this week, too. Just as I was listening to you talk, Chris, thinking about this week, they play Minnesota, Miami, and Orlando, 3 teams that are really struggling. They should, on paper, walk through this week. But it's going to be a tough week, and here's why. You play Minnesota after you play a tough game like this one with Miami on the horizon. You know that game. You know that game's on LeBron's mind, and if it's on his mind, it's on everybody else's. Then you show up in Miami, and you have to play on Christmas Day, and then right after that, you have a back-to-back in Orlando. I mean, anything could happen this week. So if the Cavaliers are able to maintain what we saw today through these next 3 games, I think despite the caliber of opponent, you would have to say that would be a step.
And as you mentioned, Miami, the emotional time is going to be for LeBron and everybody else, but Minnesota too, with Kevin Love playing his former team, Andrew Wiggins trading away that guy. So it's going to be something. There's going to be some things going on off the court with that matchup as well. So like you said, those 3 games are beatable games, but it's going to be some things going on behind the scene that might deter the Cavs from reaching that promised land.
Chris, tonight against Memphis, the Cavs got an up-close and personal look at a guy who's been linked to them in trades going back to last year's trade deadline. That's Kosta. He has 8 points, 3 rebounds, something along those lines. We talked to Memphis's head coach before the game about Kosta, and he feels like Kosta can be a starter on a lot of different teams. And the reason that he hasn't been getting consistent minutes is, of course, because of Zach Randolph, and he's behind Marc Gasol. Do the Cavs still have an interest in Kosta? And if they watched him tonight up close and personal, did they see something that they would like, or did he leave a little bit to be desired?
Well, no, I think you can't judge too much by one game. The guy has a body of work, so they know what type of caliber player he is. But no, I think you look at him, he's an agile big. He's somebody that's really mobile, and he's long. And so he's asked to do a lot more in Memphis when he gets in the game. You know, they put him on the block, and, he's going to score and doing some things. He come over here, he's going to have a different identity, have a new role if that was to happen. And he will pay attention more so to protecting the paint and being a shot blocker. He's a really good shot blocker if you look at his per 48 minutes ratio. But with that being said, I spoke with him before the game, and he didn't want to talk about anything, the Cavs. He's a real professional guy. He said, hey, I'm in Memphis. This is where I am right now. I'm going to do the best thing. He said all the right things. But to answer your question, yeah, I think the Cavs will still be interested. It's a front court. They have to shore that up. They have to.
And let's just hope that NBA GMs around the league we're looking at tonight's game because Dion Waiters might have boosted that trade value a little bit with the 21 points. He continues to be an enigma, folks, and we'll find out if we're going to have good Dion on Tuesday against Minnesota and then against Miami. But the last time he scored 21 points, he followed that up with 4, and he didn't play in the second half. So we continue to find out if Dion's going to put it all together. It would be nice if he did because you saw tonight what kind of asset he can be. Cavs a winner tonight, 105-91 against the Memphis Grizzlies. That's 2 in a row. We'll be back right here on Tuesday to talk about the Cavs and the Minnesota Timberwolves. So for Joe Vardon and Chris Haynes, I'm Chris Fedor. Good night, everybody.